Hello, space junkies, and welcome to a very special What a Piece of Junk episode number 125, our Star Wars Ahsoka live stream. I am your agreeable host, Scott Botman, and joining me for an Ahsoka live stream, I couldn't do it without this guy, our very own Dave Filcloni, Mr. Miracle, the gooey chewy man of 1,000 nicknames, Nathan Miracle. Nathan, how is it going in your Filoni-verse world?
Oh man, I have seen Ahsoka. I've seen the first episode twice now. The second episode only once. So I am excited to jump in. We've got tons of details to go over. Now, for those out there listening, remember this is designed not to be your first viewing. We are going to have so many spoilers, so many things to talk about, and I just can't wait. But you know what? This is going to take more than two people, Scott.
Absolutely. So we got to bring in my original podcast co-pilot, Mr. Derek Marsh. Derek, welcome to the Drunken Gungan and the Ahsoka live stream.
Yes, super excited. We've been waiting for this for quite a while. I think it's been at least 6 months since we got any type of live footage. Maybe it's 4 months, right? Because that's when we had Star Wars celebration was in April, right? So 4 or 5 months at this point. So we've gotten some cool stuff. Obviously, we saw Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. Crazy to think about, actually 2 years ago at this point, with season 2 of The Mandalorian, because we've already had season 3, right? So
Exactly.
think about that. Yeah. So and with the words of where is Admiral Thrawn, we got all excited back then, and as we've gotten closer and closer, it's finally here. I mean, I want to get 2 episodes, but that's okay, because 2 was better than just 1, especially the way this 2 episodes went. I think just like when they released Andor, they had to kind of do those first 3 episodes together. I think this really fit well to do it. And as we'll go through it here, as Nathan talked about, though, Nathan, I mean, didn't you technically write and direct this? So you've actually already have known everything?
I've got to pretend that I haven't, though.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The hive will
we'll allow you some vanity to pretend that you don't already know. Well, as Nathan so expertly pointed out, though, this is not designed for your first viewing. So if you haven't yet watched Ahsoka, then, don't watch it with us the first time, because we have ye old spoiler warning, and here it comes. Yeah, so we will definitely be talking about stuff as it happens on screen, but also referencing things that are coming in the future, not just of the episode at hand, but even the second episode as well. And, probably pontificating about what all this means for future Star Wars storytelling based on what we've predicted. Some of which actually came true, guys. So go us for correct and accurate predictions. Good times. But before we jump into the show, we're going to give people a little more time to find the stream and get their Disney Plus rolling. Let's take a minute to do our Star Wars t-shirt section. So, Derek, what Star Wars t-shirt do you have on for tonight's episode?
So, as I alluded in a previous episode of ours, that I'd gotten some new stuff and I wanted to wait till today, since it was going to be, our always, we enjoy doing the first kind of episode or 2 with the new shows, watch alongs. So I got the Her Universe. Yes, I know it is a women's hoodie, but I didn't give a dang.
Hey, not everything on Her Universe is for women. They have a men's section.
They do have a men's section, all that, but this was only women's.
Okay, never mind.
I got a 3X. and what's weird, for women will get this, right? That's what's one of the weird things about it, and you guys would probably get it too, right? One of the things about women's clothing for guys, if you ever switch between significant others or whatever you do, for the joke, but the question thing is, it's zippers. It's on the opposite side. So it's weird when I was trying to zip this up. I'll stand up here in a second to show you guys it. But it was weird zipping up this hoodie because the zipper was on the left and not on the right like it is normally for guys.
Yeah, and you're like, well, this won't be that big a deal. And then you go to put it on and you're all like, well, this feels so weird. I'm in the mirror universe.
How do I zip?
My goatee is increasing. I'm in the mirror universe. What's happening?
So, anyways, but I had to pick this up. I did get permission from Christine. I had to ask her though. I was like, this isn't too girly, right? Because it's got a little bit of pink you can see in the video and stuff like that. But it's a Sabine hoodie, so I had to get it.
Yeah, Derek, it's okay. Your masculinity is really, really strong. You're good. That looks awesome, dude.
Yeah, it does. Sabine has great
yeah.
flair in the first place. So yeah, this makes for a great hoodie.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's not like super like pink. It's almost like a dark salmon. We could say that, right?
Yes.
It's a dark salmon.
Yes.
So
Yeah. You look very manly, very stylish. You're good. You're good.
But anyways, I was like, I gotta
yeah.
get this. And they were running a sale and all that stuff on if you spent enough money, you get a discount. So and Christina ended up getting a haunted mansion outfit that she wanted. So we'll obviously, I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to wear this in late October in Florida. Typically you probably would, but if this heat wave continues where it could be in the 90s come late October in Florida, where it typically is at least in the high 70s, low 80s, where, and then once the sun goes down, probably still won't wear it, but I'll probably bring it with me just to have it.
Insert climate change rant here. Okay, I'm done. Nathan, what do you got on?
Well, I thought about wearing an Ahsoka shirt, but instead I have gone with Chewbacca because we were talking earlier about smugglers who get force powers. I said, you know who is a smuggler and never got force powers? Chewbacca.
Yeah.
He's the best. So even though it's Ahsoka, we're watching out for Chewbacca. And you know what? There might be a Chewie sighting at some point in this series.
I mean,
not today. And okay, not likely because we didn't hire. But I mean, yes. I mean, I don't know anything. There might be a Chewbacca sighting.
I mean, it's entirely possible. But also, I just want to say I love how you have basically the classic Star Wars Marvel Comics font going on that Chewbacca shirt.
Yes, and we're going to talk a little bit about comics today because we saw some things that came from the comics, both originally and in the Disney canon.
Ooh, yes, definitely. Also, we apparently have some Mr. Mullet dropping the
I was going to say it's his Facebook user, but I know who that is. That joke aficionado.
Absolutely courtesy of the Lethal Mullet, Mr. Adam O'Brien, who you can listen to here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Yeah. Anyway, yes. So we'll just let Derek finish up the response here to all the dad jokes with his very hearty ha. And this t-shirt that I have on, while not Ahsoka directly related, it is current Disney Plus Star Wars series related, and it is Ye Old Bad Batch doing their best Queen impersonation. Of course, we're looking forward to, in 2024, the Bad Batch Season 3, definitively the final season of the Bad Batch, not affected by the recent closure of Lucasfilm Animation, which isn't really a thing anymore, but the animation department of LFL, they closed up shop in Singapore, but we have been assured on Twitter that it does not affect Tales of the Jedi or the Bad Batch Season 3, because those things apparently are made stateside, or at least not in Singapore.
Yeah, it was a bittersweet and ironic day they announced that, because it was literally just a couple of weeks ago. It was the 15-year anniversary of the Clone Wars movie, and they were the ones that actually did the Clone Wars animation. But it was nothing for lack of artistry and all that. Disney's doing what they can. It's all money and how it costs.
All cost cutting.
So, So it sucks because obviously people are losing, and they obviously iconic animation nowadays for what we associate with the Clone Wars, with Rebels and Bad Batch now, right? Almost to the point where if they did a different style animation, Visions is obviously its own thing. But for the other stuff that Filoni's been at the helm, it would be weird if any other style of animation at this point. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, I think we've given people enough time to get synchronized, and Derek is hosting the group watch for the show, so hopefully it'll go smoother than it did last time when I tried to do a group watch while streaming on StreamYard with my podunk.net internet service out here in beautiful rural Rutherford County. I mean, it's not quite HollerNet like Nathan's folks in Tennessee, but it's close.
Derek, you laugh, but it is literally called HollerNet.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And it
Yes.
works over radio waves.
Yeah, it does. We're talking like peer-to-peer site line of sight. Anyway, we won't.
Styrofoam
that
cups
kind of
and
podcast.
string.
It's not that kind of podcast. I'm not going to lecture people about high-speed internet and how we all should have that courtesy of the federal government. Should be a utility here in the supposedly greatest country on earth. But I digress.
It's all a series of tubes.
It is all a series of tubes. All right, Derek, let's engage the Disney Plus. And hopefully,
All right, I'm going to hit
like
the
people
start
will keep
stream
up.
button at the count of launch. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. Hopefully it started for you guys. It's loading, and it's going. Disney logo.
My lappy tappy is trying its best.
If you guys are watching the video, at some point you might see Scott walk away a little bit as he's going to get his phone and have to watch it on his phone again.
Or if I go to kick the squirrel so that he'll start running in the wheel for my internet again. Okay, I think I'm good with you guys. I have a red Star Wars logo.
Yes,
Is that where we
you are
are?
good.
Awesome.
You know, I was wondering about this when I first saw it. Red in the Clone Wars generally meant that Maul was going to show up.
Yeah.
And
Yes, but look at this. We've got
A pseudo
scrolling
crawl.
text.
a pseudo crawl with proper nouns in all caps, as
Yeah.
it should be.
Yes.
The evil
Mita and I-
galactic empire has fallen.
Yes.
And,
Mita and I popped big for the crawl. We were like, "Oh, a crawl!" And I'm like, "How sad / great of Star Wars fandom status is it that we get so excited for a crawl?"
Mhm.
We do get a call out to the sinister agents in this crawl, which was also in the original crawl for episode 4, before it was even episode 4.
So, I love how it says former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano, though. She never finished even being beyond a Padawan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's technically incorrect, Dave. Technically incorrect.
unless if
At
there
this
was something
point-
that we missed.
At this point in the opening, Mita said, "Wow, it's just like Star Wars, except like it's a good guy ship and it's from the top." And I'm all, "Yeah," almost as though it's some sort of mirror of the opening of A New Hope. And she
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, hey, that Dave Filoni guy is pretty clever." I'm like, "Yes, he is."
Yeah, we're going to get a
Or
few more
Spaceballs.
mirrors here.
Or Spaceballs. Yeah.
Yes, clearly copying Spaceballs. Speaking of mirrors, apparently whoever did the wardrobe decided to mirror these uniforms. These uniforms look a lot like the ones that Crix Madine wore in Return of the Jedi, but the rank is on the other side of the uniform.
I wonder if that's to differentiate between the Rebel Alliance and now the much more legitimate New Republic.
Probably.
I do appreciate the 1980s special effects and computer terminal level there. That thing
Mhm.
that the captain just moved exactly like the one on Home One that Admiral Akbar uses in Return of the Jedi.
It's an older code, sir, but it checks out.
I'm kind of amazed that they still have Jedi clearance codes in their database.
Yeah.
Just waiting for air quotes. Jedi.
Actually, if you watch this with the closed caption on, the air quotes are in the closed caption.
Okay, there you go.
They're not air quotes when they're in closed captioning, they're just quotes.
Well, I'd love to say that actually said air quotes, but it didn't.
But if this shows you, it doesn't matter if you're good or bad. If you're cocky, you're going to get something bad happen to you. So that's a lesson to you,
Yeah.
kids. Don't be cocky.
So we've got
Or
a
in this case,
Mon
don't be
Cal.
overconfident.
So we've got a Mon Cal in the eggshell helmet here. This reminded me of Star Wars: The Old Republic the other day when I was running a Flashpoint.
Yes. Yes.
The Essless.
Yep.
that has a Mon Cal security guard leader. Really getting Return of the Jedi vibes with how they're coming off of the shuttle there.
Oh, I was getting
theme
Phantom
from-
Menace.
Well, those two were made to mirror each other, so makes sense.
Yeah, Captain Hale dryly notes it's a surprise meeting Jedi all the way out here. And Balin is just all like, yes, well, you see.
Ray Stevenson knocks this out of the park.
Yes.
Yeah, I was holding back tears the whole time because I was like, oh, and he's so good. Such a loss.
I love that he calls it Imperial trash. Rebel
Over
scum, they got Imperial trash.
Yeah. So I like that he says they should have surrendered when the Empire collapsed. I mean, who does Captain Hale think that they are? Inquisitors, I guess?
I think he just thinks
I
they're
guess so.
impersonators.
Well, now he knows they're the real deal as Hati goes nuts and then Balin is just using his own pistol against him.
Off screen. Ah.
So,
Please
another
note.
good mirroring here.
Yeah,
The
please
I
note
am
that.
no Jedi.
Yeah, Captain Hale is dead because the lightsaber went right through his heart. Because as we'll see later in the show, if you
Yes.
don't hit him right with your lightsaber, it no longer equals.
Well, that's
instant
what
death.
makes him the master and her the apprentice.
Yes,
He knows exactly where
the
to do it.
apprentice's lightsaber has nowhere
Touche!
damage number on it.
Touche.
It's like
Also,
it's like
I'm
in
watching-
Batman. Once you get to a certain level, then they'll teach you the two-finger death touch, right? So that's what it is in this. When you get
Wuhan
ranked
thumb.
into Sith Master or Jedi Knight, they show you exactly where to actually point the lightsaber.
You know, it was really cool. I'm looking at the live stream on StreamYard here, and I have my other monitor going like 4 inches from my face, and the blaster bolts were reflecting off of my head. I hope that I'm not showing too much of the movie in my glasses. We're gonna get like copyright strike.
Oh,
I'm gonna
you're
tilt
fine.
these things down.
It's in reverse. You'll be okay. It's in reverse.
There we go.
All right, so Balin
You know what?
undoes
The first time I watched this. Go ahead, Nathan.
Oh, Balin undoes the handcuffs like the Emperor does with Luke in Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
Yes.
Morgan's hair is a little bit different than it was in The Mandalorian. So at first I
Mhm.
was like, is that her or some other prisoner? But obviously it's her.
This
But
makes her
why
Nathan,
is it
what's-
different?
Yeah.
Because we now know what
Ethan,
she is.
What's the Arabesh on her suit? Is that just numbers?
I actually did not translate the Arabesh yet.
Okay.
Sorry. I know
You're fine.
that it seems like I know it fluently, but
Part 1, Master and Apprentice.
I don't. So several
enjoy the
meanings
fact
of
that-
Master and Apprentice.
Yes, and I enjoyed the fact that Disney Plus text description just said Ahsoka Part 1. Did not give a title. We don't get to see the titles until the episode actually streams. So that's kind of cool.
Who is this?
Who indeed? I love
Are
the
we watching
almost
Dune?
Sanskrit. It feels like Dune, doesn't it? I love the almost Sanskrit writing on these columns and the vaguely, for all of you Warhammer 40,000 fans out there, the vaguely Tau imagery of the circle within a circle. Now, if I were a Jedi and I come across a ruin like this with all the, volcanic ash or whatever, I would use the Force to immediately go poof and dust the place because it would be driving me crazy that I can't read what it says.
Yeah, but
Ahsoka
that costs
doesn't
more in
care.
special effects. I mean,
yeah, using the Force for frivolous
It's
means.
called
I
a
hear
leaf
you.
blower. Somebody in the background, they could have had a guy that, maybe half his jean leg you could see in a leaf blower.
you just coat the whole leaf blower in green and green screen it. So
And what
she
I-
did actually use the Force to make the lightsabers go around. She
But
wasn't
what
actually
I
able-
don't like here is she's ruining cultural art here. You know what I'm saying? She's just
Well,
like, oh,
Well,
I could actually look for the entrance, but I'll just make my own.
Yeah.
it's
So,
Night
Nathan, are
Sister
we-
art. So-
Are we looking at Night Sister statues, carvings, or are we looking at the father, the son, and the daughter? What's up?
Yeah, so the first time I saw this, I thought that we were looking for the father, the son, and the daughter.
Mhm.
But all three faces are too similar. The father, son, and daughter have quite distinct faces. So I recognized pretty quickly that's not what this is. These are Night Sister faces.
Okay.
And
And
we
then
do
Ahsoka
actually get
hears the-
confirmation of that a little while later.
And she hears the creepy, ghosty voices, "Abba, jabba, 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 jabba."
Yeah, but see,
I
every
was
time you
kinda
hear that trumpet in the back, to me, I was hearing space whales.
Hey, Pergil,
Bur-
an
yeah.
important part of this map, so maybe you're right. I like all the volcanic dust is still, coating everything, and we get a little Lucasfilm cross-pollination because this feels like an Indiana Jones moment if ever there was
I
one.
was gonna go Fifth Element.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's not Lucas.
I know, but to me, doesn't mean he still didn't rip it from it.
That's true. Especially the carving on the pedestal. It has that like wavy line thing like the Fifth Element did in those bricks.
Like they're the elements. Yep.
Yep.
this part to me does feel very video gamey, though. Like you go up to each pedestal and you right click. And
Well, and what I liked about it, though, there was like not just one level of that, like the top. Like she had to, some of them she had to turn the actual whole thing,
Mhm.
and then adjust the top ring as well.
Oh my god! A wild Spartan Phoenix has appeared. Loop. Nope, we lost him.
Must be doing another show.
I guess so. We've hijacked
I-
the live
I-
stream. Hopefully
think
there wasn't
maybe-
anything planned at HQ.
Either that or he's reworking his sound systems.
Hey, my beautiful bride has commented, I do listen to your podcast, so she must be watching us. Thanks, babe. Also, I was giving you plenty of shout outs earlier for your expert analysis.
All
and
positive
observation.
shout outs.
Yes, yes. All right, and Ahsoka has finally unleashed the central MacGuffin.
Which,
Yeah,
to me, again, looks just like the Fifth Element.
It does.
Well, it
It's
does
the same
until you
shape.
realize that's all dust.
Yeah, so that makes me wonder if the dust was like intentional from the Night Sisters at some point in time because they essentially encased the sphere.
I think it has to be. If the sphere was at the bottom of the column of dust, then it could be a coincidence that the dust just fell in there. But it's kind of midway up, which
Yeah.
means some of the dust had to be there first.
Well, it
Right,
could have
right.
been floating because we'll see that later.
Yeah, I
in the other one. It could have
suppose.
been like floating inside of it when they placed it,
Yeah.
and then to your point, like all these years later, just filled up with dust, and that was it.
Until the mechanism gave out, but by that time it was already
The base of it,
supported by
was
the dust.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Tennant.
Yes. Doctor Who Yang.
Outstanding.
So Hu Yang, we first saw in the Clone Wars. He's the droid who helps all the Padawans to build their lightsabers.
Still kicking it. He made the purge.
He made
He
the
did.
purge, and he's been around for about 1,000 years now.
Yeah. Well, Nathan, if you were getting Flashpoint vibes like SWTOR earlier, you're definitely going to get them now because you've retrieved the thingy, and now you have to fight the boss to get out.
And it's the assassin droids.
Yep. An HK style droid and another HK style droid. Also another HK style droid. You may be sensing a theme here. At this point, I thought it was Ahsoka versus 3 robots. It is not Ahsoka versus 3 robots. It is Ahsoka versus
5 or 6.
4,
Four
5
right
robots.
now.
Yeah, it'll be 5 robots all together. So she has to dual wield for this.
Good to see the HK droids getting some live action love. There's 5 now.
Yep.
And
Now,
you can
when
tell he's
we-
the leader because he's got a red helmet.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, when you're painting your minis, you always paint one differently.
Exactly, because you got to denote. Now, Were these style of droids referenced in The Mandalorian season 3 when Moff Gideon was talking about recruiting more resources? Or was it just the Praetorian guardsmen, like living guardsmen?
I think it was just the living guardsman. So you'll notice that the one whose head got chopped off is actually the one who gave the order to do the self-destruct, which is subtle foreshadowing about something from the next episode about droid heads still working after they've been cut up.
But we already know that, though.
We do, but if this is the first thing you watch, it's subtle foreshadowing. Then again, if this is the first thing you watch, you're probably very lost.
What is a Star
Also-
Wars?
Also, dang, those droids had massive reactors to produce this kind of shockwave.
I was a little peeved about that as a nitpick. I'm like, come on. They're not loaded with nuclear bombs. Come on.
Okay, I think Kevin. I
yeah,
think
they
Kevin's connection is stabilized, so I'm going to try to bring Kevin into the cockpit here. Kevin, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys. I was trying to get on and something happened, so I had to delay, but I wanted to. I can't stay the whole time, but I want to come and check in with you guys. Where are you guys at right now?
So Ahsoka has just jumped on board the T6 cruiser as the explosion at the ruins shockwave of the self-destructing droids have
Very
almost wiped her out.
Predator-like.
Yes, yes. Get to the chopper.
And we get the
And
snarkiness.
we're
of
listening
David
to
Tennant.
Dr. Hu Yang tell her that he is not her Padawan.
Yeah, we get his snarkiness, but also he points out that you don't have a Padawan. That's part of the problem with me following standard protocols. You're not doing the right thing here.
Yeah. You need a Padawan to watch your back because I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so
Well, Kevin,
says,
you got
"You're
to
right.
watch
I'm not
this."
doing Jedi protocol."
Kevin, you got to watch all of this like a week before the rest of us, almost a week. Was everything to your satisfaction? Did stuff happen the way that you were expecting when you went to the premiere?
I'll be honest, I didn't know what to expect. Yeah, I was being part of the 501st, one of our contacts within that got their hands on some tickets, and I was able to, throw my hand up sooner than later, and I got a free pass to go to the fan experience. And I think they turned them into fan experiences when they realized that because the strike was going on, there'd be no celebrities around to promote anything, which I thought was a good idea because I was down at the Hollywood premiere at the El Capitan Theater, the Disney Theater. There was one in Disneyland, a little bit further south, and one up north in San Francisco, and then one in New York, and then one in Orlando. So I wasn't sure what to expect. Saw a lot of people in costume, a lot of my fellow 501st, and we got in free with the passes we had. We got free concession, which was great, and they ended up passing
Lightsaber.
out free lightsabers to everyone too. This is the,
Oh my
this is one of the
gosh.
Ahsoka lightsabers I got. They passed around to us. So for those
Okay,
who didn't
because
know.
I wasn't
Outstanding.
jealous enough before.
Right?
These are part of a 2-pack, and I guess they broke them up and then passed around, and I got this one here. So
So you
it
didn't
was
beat up a
great.
little kid for the second one?
No, I didn't have to, which was nice. So, but it was really, really cool. I got to tell you guys though, this fulfilled that need to want to see Star Wars on the big screen again.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I was aching to do it again when I saw the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi when I went down to Hollywood to watch that, and because both these episodes are very cinematic, and it was great to see them back to back on the big screen with perfect sound. It was a lot of fun.
This is a little pet peeve of mine too. I'd have to go back to Rebels to confirm, but I feel like Ahsoka was taller than Hera, and Mary Elizabeth Whitehead
Maybe so.
is tall in person. Normally, I think she's like 5'9", 5'10", anyways. So she's pretty tall, but it was just like, they didn't chop her legs off.
Well,
And
Hera's usually in the
Mita
cockpit,
pointed out.
so-
Mita pointed out that she thought Hera's Linku were actually a little bit longer than this in the show, in the
They
animation.
did touch it up.
Yeah, and some of that is because of just real life limitations. If they're too
Now,
long,
Nathan,
you can
correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it kind of like fingernails, and Twi'lek can actually, trim them to a certain extent, like for like various hairstyle?
They're usually treated that way in video games, but I don't think canonically it's ever been confirmed that that's the case. That said,
Well, that's
Rebels
interesting.
is a cartoon. if you look at the Clone Wars and look at Count Dooku, he does not look like Saruman.
You mean he doesn't have a giant upper lip?
Yeah, no. So I'm okay with a bit of, this doesn't completely match the cartoon. Now, if they made her blue instead of green, that would be a problem, but minor adjustments are okay.
Note that she's still wearing her bomber jacket with the Purina Dog Chow logo as her rank, even though it's not on the same side as it once was.
Glad
But
I
she's
wasn't the
definitely
only
still
one that
got-
thought of that.
Yeah, she definitely still has the Purina Dog Chow rank from being in the rebellion. So
And
She's
she's
not
still
nearly
Mother
as-
Hera.
she is. She's not nearly as cleaned up and spick and span and shiny as the other New Republic officers.
So we get confirmation here that Thrawn is thought to be dead, but his death was never confirmed. So we get confirmation of a lack of confirmation.
Ditto for Ezra, because Hera mentions him here. Prompting, of course, a nice, big, deep discussion we should have at some point. Do we think Ezra's going to show up, or is he just going to be like a,
Hologram?
outside
Oh,
influence
he'll
on the show?
he'll show up. He will.
He'll show up.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Well,
don't.
it depends.
I-
Is it going to be Ezra or is it Ezra?
or both.
Ezra.
Or Ezra?
Harry's saying it's never a straight line with you Jedi, as though she weren't married to one.
I was sad there was no cameo by Akbar.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, we know that he's still around at this point in time. So
Yeah, he has to make it all the way to
Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, yeah.
Max Rebo
And
going
this
to
is
show up.
home one.
Max Rebo always makes it out before the explosion.
It's true.
Do it for Ezra, baby. Come on, Sabine. You gotta do it for Ezra. I was at first I was like, I'm a little annoyed that they're having Sabine be Miss Reluctant to be hero. But then
I
it
was
kind of
so
keeps
tickled
with her rebellion idea, and so it makes sense that this far along in the future, when she's like almost 30 years old, that she's very much the gifted kid who didn't pan out. You know what I'm saying?
But I was so happy they got Clancy to reprise
Yes.
the role.
Yes, Governor
Ryder.
Azate.
Yes, Ryder Azadi.
That-
And then we also have Jai Kell, not played by his voice actor, but also a Rebels character, returning as the Senator.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about Jai Kell. Good catch, Nathan. I like this
Isn't that-
live action. What is that race that's beside Jai Kell?
The Gotal.
Yes, the live action Gotal. I mean, we've seen a live action Gotal before, but it's good to see one here in the new millennium.
Yeah, we saw a live action Gotal in the original Star Wars.
That's right, but he didn't look as
Nick
good as
Cantina,
this
but
Gotal.
He did not.
Well, he was also in a dusty cantina.
That's
He
true.
was. And he was probably much more poor than this Gotal.
Well, he's
So
also a
maybe
bounty
he was in
hunter.
bad health.
At least according to Star Wars CCG lore.
I don't know that we should trust Star Wars CCG lore. I mean, they named that one guy on the skiff after some idiot. I mean,
It's
hi,
canon,
Kevin.
baby. It's canon.
It is. He's got a action doll now.
Is that what we call them now? Action dolls.
Yeah, we're just gonna go for the compromise. Action dolls. I like the mural here from Rebels. The exact same picture. Were they cool?
Hey, I was gonna say after the Barbie movie, I'm sure doll's gonna be a loose term that anyone and gender can use. So.
Yep.
All right, Sabine speeding out, listening to some rock music.
I will say I am swooning over Sabine / Natasha's long hair in this one. It's
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God. And it's the right color.
Yeah.
Too, you know what I'm saying? And I think you do.
I want to say that I did turn on my Shazam app to see what that song was while she was jamming on the bike. Didn't come up with anything. Just saying. I was kind of hoping, that she's into metal.
Well,
Let's just put it that way.
clearly, it's from the band in Tatooine Rhapsody.
True. Yes.
All right, so
Well,
she's
I was gonna say to
followed
me it
by-
was metal. It was metal punk. It definitely had that punk feel, right?
So she's being followed by E-Wings here.
Yes,
E-Wings,
live action E-Wing debut. Woohoo!
yes, were first introduced in a Dark Horse Comics comic and were reintroduced into canon in a Poe Dameron comic.
That's right, baby. Poe Dameron comic. I gotta love that book. I'm so sad it's over.
Were they in the comic first there, or did Fantasy Flight put them in the X-Wing miniature game first?
Oh no, they were Dark Horse properties back in the 90s.
Correct,
But
but
the Fantasy Flight's
Dameron.
X-Wing game is not canon.
correct. But I'm just saying that, like you said, reintroduced in the Poe Dameron.
Reintroduced into canon.
Oh, well, okay. I see what you're saying.
But yes, first visible again in the new millennium from FFG. You're right about that.
Yeah.
I'm getting big time young James T. Kirk vibes from Star Trek 11 in this scene.
Yeah. Sabotage.
This droid is so great. He's all like, she's not going to stop.
She's not
going to
stopping.
stop.
She's not stopping. I don't know why you think she's stopping.
And then he hides.
But
she basically skateboards her way underneath the semi truck as the cops try to stop her. I'm also getting big time little Leia vibes here, like from the Obi-Wan series where Leia wanted to run off instead of doing her official duties because she's a rebel princess.
yeah, but she was like 6 in there. Sabine's like 30 here.
It's called Arrested Development, Derek. Maybe we should talk about it.
It's called child management anger issues.
Sabine probably also
yes, that too.
doesn't want to relive Ezra disappearing, which is
No, that's
essentially what they're
definitely
asking
what
her to
she's
do.
pissed about.
Yeah,
She
she's
feels like
running from her
everybody's
trauma.
abandoning her.
Yay, live action Lothcat.
Yes, I'm probably allergic to them just as I am regular cats.
I was gonna tell message Kyle if he wanted to get one after that to join his kitties.
He absolutely does want to get one. He's going to go to Galaxy's Edge and like get that. They have barrels upon barrels of plushy Lothcats for sale, I'm sure.
But we need one of those cool motorized version ones where they like, Furby type interact.
Yes, that'd be awesome. I feel like when Sabine is under the desk here looking at the crate and her helmet, that it implies she hasn't worn that helmet in a while.
I think you're right. And she kind of says as much later in the second episode when she's talking about how her lightsaber skills have not really kept up.
And there's her Phoenix Squadron patch, and of course, an OG Star Wars communicator.
It's a puck.
It is a puck. It's kind of like a puck. I think a puck isn't two-way though, is it?
Well, I don't know that this is two-way either.
True.
Ezra made this recording. That's it.
But I feel like that's exactly the same prop as Obi-Wan used to talk to Bail Organa when in the Obi-Wan series.
What? Star Wars reusing props?
Thus, I think it's supposed to imply that it is a two-way communicator.
Well, the also thing is that means that Ewan McGregor didn't steal it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We all know celebrities love to steal props.
So we're back at the volcanic ash planet now.
The planet Arcana will be named here in a bit, and I was all like, really? A witch fortress on the planet Arcana? Could we be a little more heavy-handed? But this is Star Wars, where we have the devil fight Jesus. So yeah,
we can be more heavy-handed because
do
you know what Balin and Shin's last names are?
Skull for Balin, and Shin is Hati.
Yes, and do you know where those names come from?
I know, but why no, Nathan? Where do those names come from?
They come from Norse mythology. They are the pups of Fenrir, and thus are wolves. So, of course...
Yes.
Of
put a hat
course,
on.
I named them after wolves.
That's right.
Dave, slightly well known for liking wolves.
Okay, now
Uh,
now the
Like is an
ex-inquisitor
understatement.
Yeah,
Marek or whatever his name is here. Does his name have a deep meaning, Nathan?
not that I could find, but
No,
also
he's
I
faceless.
didn't
He's not.
know
He's
his.
not important.
Well, I think he might be even more important because he's faceless. Because we'll find out who's under that mask later, I think.
Nah,
I
he'll be
love
the first one to go.
Elspeth's whole, of course I'm a witch of Dathomir kind of attitude here. And I love that we're expanding Witches of Dathomir in live action.
Mhm.
Although this is not the first live action witch in Star Wars, that was handled in the Ewok adventure movies, The Battle for Endor.
Deep cut.
Note that Hati still has her Padawan braid in a full effect here.
That's why I like Balin's character, because he's dark side, but yet he's still kind of like the old ways. That's why his lightsaber imagining is orange, right? He hasn't gone full
Mhm,
red.
mhm.
Kind of that, not quite, gray Jedi, but
I could bring in some
He
slides.
is the quintessential fallen Jedi.
Yes.
He's
So to
kind of
be-
doing the Dooku thing where he's all like, I'm not really a Sith. The dark side doesn't have me, but he doesn't realize, yes, the dark side has you, bro.
Guys, I could bring in a few slides to show around if you like, because I had one already made up.
Sure,
Sure,
go
what-
for it.
yeah.
You've got the authority.
All right. When we doing our Ahsoka watch on Friday, we'll be showcasing some of these slides as well.
oh, so we get a
Cool.
sneak
This
peek.
could be, yeah, exactly. Preview. All right, Sabine's hanging out at Ezra's old radio tower where he once broadcast his own Rebellion podcast. And then
Ahsoka
she's
sure gets-
watching Ahsoka's ship fly by with an X-wing escort.
I was
Very
gonna say,
much
she gets a lot
reminiscent of the
X-Men.
final episode of Rebels.
Yeah.
Sorry, Derek, what did you say?
No, I was just gonna say, Ahsoka has a lot of X-wing escorts.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, that was actually very reminiscent of the first episode of Rebels, to the point where it's almost shot for shot what Ezra was doing in the first episode.
Yeah, but I meant specifically Sabine's watching Ahsoka's ship come in.
The epilogue.
Doesn't that happen
yes.
in the epilogue?
Um,
Yeah, you're right. It's totally what Ezra was doing in episode 1 of Rebels as well.
well, in the last scene in Rebels, she didn't have as much hair.
Yeah, they kind of redo the last scene of Rebels in this episode. In next episode.
Yeah, it's in next
Um,
episode when they.
But
fly
but
out together.
things are slightly different because Ahsoka doesn't have her staff. Ooh, good still store there, Kevin, of Ahsoka cutting her way into the temple on Arcana.
I'm loving
Yes,
live
the-
action Kara.
Yeah, she's good.
I love how
This is
Ahsoka just cuts straight to the point.
Yeah. I liked that shot, the framing of that shot where she's standing there looking, where Sabine is looking at Ahsoka and her hair is blowing in the breeze and she's all like, I'm not going to do what you want me to do just because you want me to. And then she shows her the sphere of destiny. Thank you very much. And she's all like, okay, never mind. I am going to do it because I want to help Ezra.
Digging the long hair too. I miss it.
Yeah. So I have to say, I wasn't a huge fan of the lightsaber duel between Hati and Sabine, but of course we have a canonical dialogue reason about why that was such a kind of clunky and slow duel,
Both
because
bad.
Sabine is all, yeah, Sabine's like, I'm not real good at that, and Hati is still a Padawan,
So I've looked it up. Merrick does have special meaning.
Oh,
That name comes from the Arthurian legends. And
Okay.
Sir Merrick was a knight who was thought to be a werewolf.
Whoa! Oh, I hope he's like a Gotal or something under his helmet. That'd be cool. But also
Wolfman.
more wolves.
I hope.
Oh yeah, Shistavian.
I hope, and I don't think this is the case now, but I still hope that it's Barasafi.
Ooh.
Doesn't look like a female though.
Yeah, that's part of the reason that I think there's not much chance of that.
Where did you find this? On a planet called Arcana that was a stronghold for witches. Again, subtlety. I like this conference table that Ahsoka has on her ship that just sort of rises up out of the floor.
Yeah, but there's no D-Jark hologram board, so
There could be though, because watch what she does in a few seconds here.
I know
Ahsoka's
she
all like
does,
boom,
but
boom,
there's
boom.
no D-Jark. They could have had the runes up. They could have had like a giant, Sarvrat.
But what I'm saying is,
"Rah!"
killer slug attack.
It's got
What
a
I'm
protector, so you could use it for Djarit.
exactly that's what I'm saying. You could just put a new cartridge into that Atari 2600 she has up there, and boom, Djarik.
Speaking of hollow tables, though, I don't know if y'all noticed when we went to Home One for Ahsoka to talk with Hera, we actually went to the same meeting room that they had the briefing in Return of the Jedi.
How cool is that? Love that.
Yeah, that was epic.
I wonder if they actually had to rebuild that, or were they able to save from the original 40 years ago?
They absolutely had to rebuild that. There's no way that set's still around.
I would agree.
Which is also why you saw it from a much different angle than you saw in Return of the Jedi. So you couldn't
And I'm sorry, I
notice
know we're
any
supposed to-
differences as much.
I know we're supposed to be emphasizing the analog nature of Star Wars as a galaxy, but that cup that Ahsoka's drinking out of looks like it came right out of a 3D printer. Like a few minutes ago, somebody on set was all printing out the cup.
I assumed it had Ractagino in it, but that was the wrong franchise. So
No, it's got calf. Come on, Dave. Calf.
Refresher.
Yes. I love how Huyang always calls Ahsoka Lady Tano. Nathan, you think those red triangles are marking the spots you have to interact with to complete the mission for SWOTOR?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
If you pull up your mini map, it'll point
those
you
are where
in that
the
direction.
bombs are at, people. Come on, you have to deactivate.
Those are where the bombs are. Yeah. Those are the detonation points of the droids. No. I do like that Huyang has essentially electronic eyelids so that he can be more expressive than 3PO or one of the other older school droids.
It's like Spider-Man with his eyes, because on a costume, his eyes shouldn't be able to emote, and yet
What?
like Stark has made it to where they do.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the comics, Todd McFarlane and friends have made it to where his eyes emote through the mask somehow. I wish that, much like in the Bad Batch, I wish that they would spend more time saying what the name of Ahsoka's ship is. Because
Does it look like an Ahsoka ship to you guys?
It does on the outside, but the inside it doesn't.
Hmm.
The outside, with its vaguely Tetra fish look, feels like Ahsoka, but inside it's way too
Falcony.
almost industrialized smuggler.
Do we know what type of ship it is? Because I didn't know.
Only that
calls
it's
it
a
a
T6 cruiser.
T6-1957, I believe she said. I was disappointed that it wasn't 1977. Could have snuck a reference
Or even
in there.
1138. I would have been okay with that too.
Yeah.
2 on the nose.
Yeah. I like Huyang analyzing the lightsaber hilts here. Once again, cementing the idea that your lightsaber in Star Wars is like your katana as a samurai back in the day, or, if you will, like your katana as a samurai in a Kurosawa film, because George Lucas loved Kurosawa so much. And it's almost like your fighting style is your fingerprint, and your katana hilt is like your ID card.
But also,
Your lightsaber hilt.
Huyang helped all the Padawans build their lightsabers. So he has a database of, these are the lightsabers.
Yeah.
I have to call out though, the makeup on Rosario Dawson is fantastic. Like
Yes.
as high
It's beautiful.
definition we are now, and like how close we're watching to it, like a lot more noticeable than it was on my TV last night. Because you're sitting back from it. But when you're like sitting inches from it, it's very clean.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, Kevin, you're totally right. That ship looks like it has little hidey holes and smuggling compartments everywhere. Even the fact that the table can like sink down is very, sneaky.
Yeah.
3D printed cup still in the scene.
At least it doesn't say Starbucks.
And Sabine,
At least,
leaves.
yes.
It's true. Yes.
Did we not see
Sabine's
that coming?
like, oh, we beat the Empire. I can go hang out at my apartment to study this thing. No worries about security leaks or risks.
I'm gonna put on some of that punk rock.
Mm-hmm.
Help her unwind.
And here we have Hati doing her best Darth Maul impersonation.
Yes.
And now she's going to try to figure out if the trace was correct.
I was just disappointed though that it wasn't black.
Well, but she's
she's-
not Sith.
Yeah, but everything else is black.
Well, no, I mean she's got her white robe and her silver gauntlets. She's got to do it with a little more panache than Satan. I mean Darth Maul.
I wonder if they got a real cat to like imitate that while they were like just in certain scenes, and then obviously computer generated over it, or if she just had to interact with nothing.
It was ye old tennis ball on a stick. No, it probably was a mildly articulate puppet a la Baby Yoda on set of the Mandalorian.
Or maybe Alan Tudyk.
Yes, it was Alan Tudyk hunched over on the table, occasionally
Or
going,
Andy Serkis.
"Meow."
One or the other. One or the other.
We got them both. Alan Tudyk is playing the head. Andy Serkis is playing the rear. Yeah,
Like the dressed up like the jackass or the the horse costume.
Yes.
two full-grown men to play one small cat.
I enjoyed that Sabine had like pre-made note cards with these symbols on them. And those are plastic card too. They're not like post-it notes.
Well, maybe they printed them with the same thing that they made the cup out of.
That's it.
The same joke.
Totally. And then, sorry, I'm a scene or two ahead, but in a minute here, Kevin, us 1980s kids will get a nice nostalgia hit as she basically Rubik's cubes her way to the solution.
I was
To me, it
horrible
was
with this.
Goonies.
I was horrible with this damn thing.
Uh-huh.
And you don't want to know where this one led. Oh, jeez.
Oh boy.
But I have figured out how to do Rubik's cubes. First thing you do is go to Google and type in "How do I solve a Rubik's cube?"
I would just take them apart.
I thought you were going to, yes, I thought you were going to say disassemble it.
As a kid, I
No,
took stickers
disassemble.
off and moved them around.
And here we have Hera being all, hey, I'm familiar with stubborn and bullish Padawans.
It's Mother Hera.
Speaking of her being Mother Hera, we don't see her child anywhere in this.
Not yet.
We haven't seen Jason yet. I think we
Yeah.
might see Jason later. And then Hera almost immediately regrets bringing up Ahsoka's master. You can tell it in her face. Pretty good acting there on the part of Mary Elizabeth. Because it's fairly hard to emote with the makeup, but then also while you're a hologram. So, good job.
Well, I'm sure she was actually standing there doing that.
What? You mean they don't have actual holograms on set? My suspension of disbelief has been shattered.
Prove it. Well, it's just like, Alan Tudyk and Andy Serkis playing that cat.
Yeah. Which
That wasn't CGI. That was
is-
literally two men they shrunk down and put into a tiny costume. Or they did the old Peter Jackson. It's illusion of how they have the camera stage. So that they really have them way further.
they actually, like 30 feet back.
Cat's like, "I'm more help than you know," with your 1979 slide projector slightly disguised on the table there.
Hopefully the light bulb doesn't go out.
Poop. Oh, here we go. More calf. Speaking of 1970s props, that thermos looks like it came right out of a 1970s lunchbox for kids, doesn't it, Kevin?
Yeah.
One of those plastic cards looks like a punch card for an old computer. That's really cool.
Probably could have been.
Yeah.
I thought the set decoration was really, really good, and the props, it was amazing.
Well, I like
Oh,
the detail too.
And she does the reverse head tilt, the universal symbol for "I've figured something out."
Eureka!
Figured something out using art, which is a nice mirror of what Thrawn does.
Yeah. I believe this is the first time we've seen the occurrence of a touchpad in Star Wars. Most of the time, it's way more
I hadn't
analog
thought
than
about
that,
that.
with a dial or a switch or a lever or keyboard.
They had to go the Tony Stark route.
Yeah, eventually we gotta catch up. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like science fiction anymore. Even though Star Wars is actually space fantasy, not science fiction.
And it technically takes place in a long, long time ago.
Exactly. Oh, I noticed that she has those little hard drive thingy-maboops that Dude Man was stuck cataloging on Andor when he got his new job.
Yes.
Also, there was a guy cataloging them on The Mandalorian, Dr. Pershing, when he got his new job.
Mhm.
Meaning, of course, that regardless of who's in charge of the galaxy, there's still plenty of data that needs to be cataloged because we're analog and we don't have high-speed data transfer across planetary systems.
Well, and the thing here about detail too, whether you guys are noticing or not, but like at least her nail polish wasn't like all perfect. Like it was actually like
Yeah.
she did it, but then it was like worn off because she hadn't done it in a while because she's working, doing stuff right.
So the first time I watched this last night, I didn't catch on that that was supposed to be a separate galaxy. I was like, oh, it's pointing to a star system on a far edge of
Aktu.
the galaxy. Because I thought that the
you thought it
big
was like a zoom
glowy
in.
ball. Right, exactly. I thought the big glowy ball was the main galaxy, and that was like a little, and here we see in this highlighted section which planet you need to go to find Ezra. But no, that is not what happened.
Entirely new galaxy that is far, far away from this galaxy, and thus could be our galaxy.
Yep, could be, but I kind of hope isn't because that would be really weird.
No, what would be really weird is if it's our galaxy and Indiana Jones is there.
I like Sabine trying to steal his blaster to use against him.
And then doesn't quite steal it, just manages to shoot him in the foot with it.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott paused the video. There we go.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, good.
I was losing my sound.
I was getting a sound differential as well.
Did you guys hear any feedback from the other preview nights that they had in other cities at all? Did you guys know anyone else that went to them?
No,
No,
honestly,
you're the
just
only
you.
person I know. Yeah.
I thought people did a good job of not spoiling anything, which was nice.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Which I do see my assassin droid failed to take you out and get the tickets from you.
It's true. Those damn HKs.
Hati's outfit and, of course, her hairdo here definitely remind me of Lana Beniko in Star Wars: The Old Republic. And her lightsaber a little bit looks like Lana's too, except Lana's is red, not orange.
well, I was gonna go Scarlett Johansson.
She kind of looks like Scarlett Johansson, yeah.
From Lucy.
Thought I was the only one that liked that movie.
At
They
its
did say
moment.
he
Yeah,
liked it.
Sabine is all, I'm a Mandalorian and a weapons designer, so I'm going to kick your butt. And Hati is all like, you call that lightsaber fighting?
I can spin too. Woo!
Well,
Yep.
Sabine is trying to use Kanan's stance.
She is. Emphasis on trying.
Trying to use, yeah.
Well, he was her
She
first
abandoned it
teacher.
fairly quickly. Yes, yeah, with the Darksaber.
See, if Bo-Katan just didn't destroy that lightsaber, she could have had it.
Yep.
But if
And
this
we get a
means,
little
though,
bit
that
of
Sabine does eventually complete her Jedi training, she could be the one to actually forge a new darksaber.
she could be. That would
She-
be cool.
She could, but I don't think she's ever going to become a Jedi.
This duel here has a few minutes where it. Did you see Hati use the Force to move fast enough to get out of the way there? That was pretty cool. The lightsaber duel at moments reminds me of Rey versus Kylo Ren, where I get the idea that Hati is almost toying with her a little bit, but also Sabine is just kind of hacking away. She's got no real technique.
Now, see, I got vibes of Luke versus Vader, but for the exact same reasons, because Vader was also toying with Luke on Cloud City.
And Luke was hacking away with it like it was freaking Excalibur. He had no technique.
All right,
All
so
right.
at this point, the first thing I thought is, oh my gosh, if they actually killed Sabine in the first episode, that would really raise the stakes. I would be shocked, amazed. And then my second thought was, no, she still has her hair. And we saw in the previews.
The trailer absolutely ruined the suspense for me there. I'm like, she can't be dead. We've seen her with the short hair. And then we have a nice touching tribute to Ray Stevenson. Yep, R.I.P. to one of the great ones.
The crowd cheered when that happened in the theater. That was when we saw that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the closing credits animation.
Yes.
It's almost kind of Game of Thronesy.
Yes, Mita actually said that too. She was like, this actually feels like Game of Thrones, but like in space.
And I think that this is supposed to represent civilization colonizing the stars and figuring out hyperspace.
I was just figuring this is how they're going to have to travel to that other galaxy. And how all the galaxies are connected.
When you get to the end of it, you do have the Pergil flying off. I think that specifically is them going to the other galaxy.
Well, Nathan, you talked earlier about Hati's name and Balin Skull's name having Icelandic or Viking roots or Scandinavian roots. And the writing here is not Arabish. It definitely feels more Scandinavian runic writing. The writing on the credits here. Or if it is Arabish, it's like an old font of Arabish that I don't really recognize.
I think this may be the same type of runes that they use on in Jabba's palace on his dais.
Yeah, could definitely be because it's like ancient Star Wars writing.
Mm-hmm. So now we've got the Pergil flying off. I think this is the point where we're going to the other galaxy.
Yeah, I love this idea that they've planted here about almost like in ancient times, ancient Maori or Pacific Islanders sailed from one galaxy to the next, not with some sort of hyperdrive, but like either piggybacking or towing behind Pergil. They did almost like a natural wave riding thing where they would just cast themselves out into the sea of stars and see where they end up, which is also a very Viking idea. Casting yourself out into the sea and see where you end up.
All right. Are we ready to start episode 2?
Well, do we want to take a short break?
Sure.
Why don't we have Kevin tell us about all the other shows on the Fandom Podcast Network.
Yeah, Kevin, I could push the button for the promo, but I kind of want to make you do it live.
Okay,
That's
but
funny. I haven't played that in a while, but yeah. So you guys are watching the live watch here of Ahsoka episode 1 and 2 on the What a Piece of Junk podcast. Thank you guys for all joining us there. There you go. And the Fandom Podcast Network, we've got shows like Union Federation, our Star Trek and Orville podcast. We got Blood of Kings, our Highlander podcast. We've got Culture Clash, of course, and that's our weekly fandom show. And we'll be covering the Ahsoka, do our own live reaction show on the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel on Friday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure that you guys check in for that. And Kyle will be recruiting you guys if you're available. Appreciate you guys coming on that, because I'm going to be gone for a few weeks. I'm going to England with my wife, so I'll be gone for a few weeks.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. So we also got Doctor Who podcast, Type 40, and we also got Couch Potato Theater, where we discover all of our favorite movies. We recently did some movie that was called, Pixels. Yeah, we did Pixels, which was a lot of fun. So,
why?
Might have mentioned some What a Piece of Junk host names in that one, just saying. And we also have Time Warp, where we are going back on the year of 1983, because it's all celebrating its 40th anniversary. So make sure you check out the Fandom Podcast Network and check out the YouTube channel, because that's where all the shows are going. And one last shout out to Lethal Mullet, our action podcast done by our good friend down under Adam O'Brien. So yeah.
Are you guys going to be bringing back the NFL?
No, we just don't have time for it, and I get too emotional, so no.
I get so angry when I record this.
I saw your post on Facebook about the Las Vegas Raiders stadium looking less and less like a Raiders stadium, and
God, yeah,
whoever is visiting.
Until the Raiders start winning there, a lot of opposing teams, and all those opposing teams' colors pop so well on those black seats. So yeah.
Yeah.
But guys, I have to take off. But I'll go ahead and leave the slideshow here if you guys want to do it. I'll get you set up here, because the next episode you've got is episode 2, Toil and Trouble. So,
Speaking of witches.
Speaking of witches, yeah.
I don't know if the
cool,
slideshow will go when I go, but if it stays, feel free to use it if you want. So
cool. All right. Thanks very much, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Enjoy your show, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later, bud.
All right. Well, we are ready to. Well, yeah, we lost the slides. That's okay. We are ready to, I guess, jump on into episode 2, Toil and Trouble. I think.
Okay.
Derek,
If everyone's ready, I will go ahead and hit in 3, 2, 1, launch. And it is loading, and there goes the logo.
Okay. Yep. And now
we will watch our recap here just to have it.
Yes. That way you don't get thrown off by clicking skip recap at a different point than we do.
Yeah. So we see Ahsoka
Previously
is finding the sphere of destiny. And we talk a little bit about how Sabine might not really be involved, but she will be for Ezra, essentially her little brother. I enjoyed that they had him be very precise about the nature of their relationship in his recording of the hologram.
Yes. No love interest.
A lot of shipping between Ezra and Sabine, but now we don't have to debate it. And Ahsoka is trying to be pacifistic. She's no Jedi, but she's still much more on the light side than she is on the side that wants violence and war.
Well, to say if the Jedi die, the light dies is arrogance.
It might even be the height of arrogance.
Heard some that somewhere.
I was happy to see that Lothcat survived. I was a little worried at first that the droid shot him, but he's okay.
No animals were harmed.
No animals were harmed. No,
including
no
Andy Serkis and Alan Tudyk.
Lothcat actually came through that encounter in better shape than Sabine herself. She's got the big sucking chest wound there. I think that the lesson here is that if you are a determined / angry young woman, you can survive getting stabbed in a certain zone with a lightsaber.
Well, it's not just women. The Grand Inquisitor too.
That's true.
So if you guys were watching the Star Wars Disney intro, right, they kind of have that black and red siren with the reflection of the helmets and faces and stuff like that going on. A couple of things. Obviously, I don't know if you noticed they were using the Ahsoka characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, Saw
So
Huyang.
the last one,
So-
instead of being typically the Mandalorian's helmet, it was actually Sabine's helmet.
Yep.
And then the other thing that's cool is that I like that they were not doing the whole that like the standard sound that they do. It was actually like the background to what we're listening, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was ambient audio.
It's 21 TB.
Good luck, sir. Sabine's
no
boots
Bacta
over in the
tank.
corner. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Should have been healed immediately
Although-
if it was a Bacta tank.
Although we probably had too much Bacta. We blew our Bacta budget for Disney Plus on Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And then Boba spilled it all out when Black Chrysanthemum came to try to kill him, so he just wasted it all.
But then they have Cobb Vanth at the end, remember?
Yeah.
Well, that's where the rest of it went. So there's none left in the galaxy at this point.
Yeah, they had to spend all that money they found at the bottom of Jabba's palace to buy more Bacta.
Those fluids.
And Sabine's
they're pretty
telling her
costly.
it wasn't in our galaxy, it was in a different galaxy. And I'm like losing my freaking mind here as a sci-fi writer because, oh my gosh, do you know what that means for future storytelling? We can do so much if we go to another galaxy where we can almost rewrite the rules, not just the rules of canon and timeline, but the rules of what's possible in the Star Wars universe.
But we could already rewrite it anyways because we have the world between worlds. And we can go back in
Yeah,
time.
but this
and
way we
change it
don't
all.
have to. Yeah, but this way we don't have to use the time travel crutch. Now, I'm not saying that they won't use the time travel crutch. I'm just saying it's possible.
They don't-
Well,
that
they already
can
did. That's
avoid
how
that.
Ahsoka lives.
Yeah, well, okay. Again, use the time travel crutch again. I'm happy to see that the thingy that we saw in the trailers of this big glowy Stonehenge, area is not the world between worlds, but rather a Witches of Dathomir star map thing.
It's the Stargate.
It is kind of the Stargate, yeah, for real. Because she even Balin lines it up, instead of the rocks moving, the lights move around it. So that's kind of cool.
Well, at least not yet. We don't know this yet. It could still.
Yeah, the rocks could move, although they've got plants growing around them. If they move, it'll be the first time in millennia. Well, first they have to go get Giorgio Tsoukalos so he can tell them about the ancient aliens that built this Stonehenge.
Or Kiefer Sutherland.
Aliens.
Aliens. Yes, Keeper Sutherland.
Ray has such a presence here.
He does. He just brings so much gravitas to the role. And then he puts the thing in, and we still get major Indiana Jones vibes when it lines up and does the thing.
He's
And
like a
Hutch is
cross
like, "Oh."
between Vader and Dooku.
Yes,
That is a
yes.
great way to describe it.
And he refers to it as the reflex point. So what do you guys think? Is this just the map, or is this thing gonna actually help
You
them
hear the whales
travel
again?
to? Yeah.
I did hear the
Is
whales.
this thing gonna actually help them travel to the other galaxy, or is this just getting them the coordinates?
Well,
You know-
no, it won't because it's a beacon because that's what they're doing at the end of this with the hyperdrive stuff. They're building
Right, but I'm like,
a portal.
they're building the hyperdrive ring because they got to have all those engines to go from one galaxy to another. But like, is the thing on the planet on Cetos gonna be all bing and fire the thingy maboop up to the ring in orbit, and then it's gonna energize it, and then they're gonna go, or is it just the map?
I think it's a beacon that just, like I said, it's gonna be a giant light.
Rise of Skywalker introduced the concept of places being so difficult to get to that you need a wayfinder. I think that's essentially what this is. It's so difficult to get to this other galaxy. You need a thing to show you how to get there.
Now, see, that's how you color a bike.
Yeah, take
Not
that,
that
mod crew on Book of Boba Fett.
Shiny American Graffiti touch throwback. Like you could have done it, but could have made it still look good.
I like that the bike is reminiscent of Sabine's recoloring of the TIE fighter they stole in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
She might have made it from the TIE fighter.
Ooh.
Mm.
There's that Lothcat.
Lothcat's alive. Yay, Lothcat.
See, Alan Tudyk's in the back and Andy Serkis in the front.
Oh, they switched.
Nita was like, Lothcat has weird chicken legs. And I'm like, yeah, that's to show that he's a real cat. Adam O'Brien is talking about Picard season 3 was everything Star Wars fans wanted. Sure. I mean, including a Death Star attack when they flew the Enterprise into the Borg cube. Spoiler alert for that, I guess.
So part of the reason I think we're going to see Ezra in person is I don't think you hire somebody to just do this.
Yeah.
Well, if they did.
All right. Ahsoka chops off the droid's head real quick. She kind of was all like, yeah, I knew you were hanging out up there.
I love the cat. Look.
It's like Fizzwig from Dark Crystal.
Yes. And Sabine is all, I can fix this. Give me my USB-A cord and my extra battery pack for my phone.
She just would have called Jeeves.
Yep. See, now, Nathan, you said you're not going to cast Dude Man to be just a hologram, but they cast freaking David Tennant to be just a voice. So, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, at least Anthony Daniels, they made him lose a bunch of weight and force him to go into a sweatshop of a machine costume. Had to act that out. And Kenny Baker used to have to go actually in R2 and.
Yep. So there she goes, USB-A, and now she's hooking up her AirPods. I swear that's what this looks like to me. Although the casing on her thing looks like an old Mattel handheld football video game. Continuing my 1980s nostalgia. We had a Rubik's Cube, and now we have the handheld football.
I love that, because you're a hologram. You can definitely tell at its voice there.
Yeah, I like how the droid is worried that the droid head is going to explode. The human's like, whatever.
It's now or never. Oh, sorry.
She should have cut the blue wire, not the red wire.
We're not cutting any wires.
All right, now she's got her directional pad that she's able to use. Little joystick deal.
It's like one of those little old handheld little gaming devices you used to get in the 90s that used to have in the back seat.
That would only play the one game.
Yeah, like the screen was literally printed with whatever it was supposed to be, and then it had like a few like little action, like the baseball would just be like the little dot going across.
No. You know what it reminds me of? A handheld version of the travel version of Mastermind. Do you guys remember that board, Mastermind?
Nope.
Oh, well.
See, he did the blue wire. He was right. Well,
Mary Elizabeth Winstead was all, I really had to work on not mask acting, but hologram acting.
Corellia, also Han Solo's home planet.
Yep, which we saw several pieces of in
and where they used to build the YT-3000s.
1300s.
AKA Millennium Falcons.
Yes.
The YT-2400 Dash Rendar ship.
The Outrider, baby.
Mm-hmm. Been great if Dash would have made a cameo.
Oh, that would have been so cool. So I like that Hun Yang has like a or satchel of materials and tools here.
To make lightsabers. At least the hilts.
Or repair droid heads or whatever. So you think maybe part of the reason Sabine is all I'm not going to get involved is because she blames herself for what happened with Ezra, and now she doesn't want to risk it again.
I think that's part of it. Uh, she also apparently trained with Ahsoka after Rebels,
Mhm.
and that didn't seem to go well. So I think that has something to do with it too.
I think because she didn't finish her training and she kind of got Ahsoka off because, obviously she didn't do what she was supposed to do, even though they're both bullheaded, as they both talk about. I think that weighs on her. Like she didn't complete it where then she felt she could then go help save Ezra.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. Need that pep talk.
Meanwhile, back on Cetus,
It's Mother Talzin. Morgan Elsbeth.
I was going to say, but Mother Talzin is dead. But first of all, even if that was true, she's a witch of Dathomir. So showing up after you die is kind of, 101.
Very, very Dathomir like.
Yeah.
Hey, if Darth Maul can do it, why can't she?
Yeah. And then, of course, now we get to see
Didn't she?
Elspeth. Yes, she did. That was what I'm saying. We get to see Elspeth do Dathomir magic, and you can tell it's Dathomir magic because it has the creepy green smoke effect instead of like red Sith energy or electricity or whatever.
Or invisible force like the Jedi.
Yep.
He's like, let me get a closer look at this.
I'm a little sad now that Morgan didn't use any magic powers in her duel against Ahsoka in Mandalorian.
I think she was trying to reveal that she wasn't a witch.
I think they hadn't decided what she was going to be at that time.
That's
So they've
possible.
left it open. Because it's a whole lot easier to go back and say, well, she just didn't use any of that than it is to say, actually, that didn't happen.
And now she's laying it all out for people like me who were a little too thick to grasp it earlier. And I'm all, oh, wow.
And these are all the
Spoiler
other
alert.
galaxies.
My first
Spoiler
thought
alert.
was, this
Scott was
is your
not good with the
galaxy
map.
on drugs.
Yeah, I think you're right, though, Derek. Not only is she all, and this is the galaxy where Thrawn is, but also these are a bunch of other galaxies.
There's the space whales going around that one.
Yep. And so it's pointing to a specific star in that galaxy. So
Yep.
that way they know they have to go to that certain system.
Well, that's where the other beacon's at.
So you're thinking that it's going to be much more like Stargate and a la a wormhole, like what?
Because what I'm guessing from here, this is how the almighty creators go from galaxy to galaxy and essentially start life, or how they're able to connect everything at some point, right? Some type of religious spiel you want to connect it to, right?
If you're right, and it is the Rakata and the Infinite Empire, I'm going to lose my mind because that will be definitely a tie to Star Wars: The Old Republic, but also it will set up Mangold's idea about a movie about the birth of the Jedi, in which the Rakata and the Infinite Empire could be the big bad during that film, and the Jedi are formed in order to throw off the yoke of oppression by the hyper advanced Rakata and the Infinite Empire.
Now, if it's the Yuzum Vong, we riot.
No. We riot.
But anyways, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's, they have different planets so that like that one will probably, like, there's probably other planets within this current galaxy, the Star Wars galaxy, if you want to call it that, where it goes to the other galaxies, right? There's like a single planet out of each of them that goes to only this galaxy, but then there's another planet somewhere else that points, right? It's got to be that right planet that points in the right direction to, form the beacon for the other galaxy. And there's, 20, 30, how many ever gazillion planets that they came to thousands of years ago and established it, right? Or this is how they're doing the Dathomir sisters, right? This is how, the Dathomir sisters were welcomed, or the sisters, witches, and all that stuff, or that's how they got their powers, right? The whole Prometheus idea, right? I don't know.
I'm actually of the opinion that, hmm, and this is all total theory crafting at this point, obviously, but I'm thinking that the Force is a thing that is unique to the Star Wars Galaxy Prime, and so that is why that for once the Rakata or whoever it is, the Infinite Empire, you can pick a name, that for once they were actually able to be defeated and kicked out of the galaxy that they had arrived to conquer or seed with life, you know. And so the witches of Dathomir have that power because they were left behind and they had to find a way to use the Force. But since they're not Sith or Jedi, they do it differently because their interpretation was alien to the galaxy.
Very well could be, right? The galaxy's our oyster.
Yeah.
There's the Phantom 2.
The Phantom.
Spoiler alert for those that have never watched Rebels, Phantom 1 does not make it.
Yep. RA7 here
It makes it
an
all the way
appearance.
to the center of a gas giant.
I'm convinced this is RA7. The
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 Canopy
Sandcrawler
droid.
one version.
yeah, the droid that's no, the droid that was voiced by
Mark Hamill.
The one in Rebels.
in Rebels. Yeah, the dark.
I think it's
Metal
not
droid.
because I think this droid is from Corellia,
Okay.
but I could be wrong.
And
That
we have
droid-
our next cameo. Do you see his bucket head up there? Good old
Yes.
Chopper.
Chopper!
The Chopper steals the show here in this episode.
Yeah, he does.
Min, I knew this guy was a scum the second he started talking. His corporate greed oozed out
He's
of
a
him.
weasel.
Slimy weasel used car salesman guy.
All of it.
Yep.
Yep.
I do like that comment, though.
Which is the problem? About the Empire doesn't become a republic overnight?
Well, that and the average worker doesn't really care who. It's just they want to get paid, right? That's
Yeah.
that's how our
and
current
that's
society works if you think about
true.
it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, but I believe that Min's story here is to help teach us the lesson that if that is how people are, then maybe you better not trust them.
Well, there's always somebody higher up that's pulling the strings.
Well,
yeah,
and
but in this case, there were several underlings that were in on it too.
and
Yeah,
you know,
but
if
they were
I'm
high
in
up in the
it,
tower, though. They weren't on the ground working.
if I'm in it just for the paycheck, then I want to go wherever I'm getting the best paycheck. And if that means bringing back the Empire, then that's what I'm for.
But I also like the fact that Min said a empire doesn't become a republic overnight.
Mhm.
But that was a nice nod to the fact how the republic basically became the empire overnight when Palpatine declared it so.
But Palpatine had worked a lot behind the scenes to set up a lot of the structures of what would become the Empire. So it
Yeah.
seemed as though it turned into an empire overnight, but really he had been turning it into an empire over a long period of time.
Well, plus he paid off a lot of people and he killed his enemies. So
Yeah.
See, that was the problem with the Republic. If they just would have killed off the Empire people, then we'd be better off. But nope, they have to do the good, right thing, right? Try to rehabilitate them. And as we've seen, in Mandalorian season 3, that's not how it works.
It's because they were more patronizing than rehabilitating.
Yeah, that was the real problem. It's that they didn't treat the former Imperials with the respect that they purported to have for them.
Yeah, I know. They make a doctor or, medical science guy, cleanup crew, inventory.
I like that Huang refers to the healing as repairs.
Yep. And he's all like, well, technically it's yours now. I liked seeing him use the built-in jeweler's hood to
His
inspect
monocle.
lightsaber hilts. Yeah.
Now, I wonder what modifications he has made to the thing.
knowing her to increase the energy output or make it more efficient, because you know how she loves to fiddle with weapon design.
True.
I was just ashamed that it wasn't multicolor blade.
Oh, yeah, that would have been nice. There's no obvious blaster section to it, but it would be neat if she reincorporated Ezra's original lightsaber idea.
His slingshot.
Well, yeah, because he had it set up to where he could fire from the lightsaber.
Lady Tano. Logical.
Now, is it logical that she would forget how annoying he was, or is he not annoying? He's just logical.
That's
Both.
how it is.
The answer's both.
Answer's 42.
Yeah. And then he gives her the biggest slam here.
This is why she's ability 3.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Like,
Yes.
you suck, Sabine.
You're aware of the Force, but they don't know how to use the Force. Okay.
But
So,
then he
I'm
tries to
wasting his
inspire her
mind.
anyway. And I'm like, listen, Huang, you're much better at building up lightsaber hilts than you are building up Padawans. Jeez, man.
Motivational speeches.
Yeah.
Freedom.
I wonder what this makes her midichlorian count, like
Like
relative
who?
to Anakin's.
Maybe like
Two.
a 50.
I like that these red protocol droids are here. Red and black, I should say. And
'Cause
the
you know they're
red
evil.
jumpsuits are very reminiscent of Andor.
Of course, red protocol droids usually a bad sign,
Mhm.
unless it's just the arm.
Super Star Destroyer.
Mhm.
They should.
And Hera's like, well, this doesn't make any sense. And Min is trying to weasel his way out of it. But this whole time he knew what he was up to.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
just trying to find a way to bureaucrat his way out of a confrontation.
Like, this is classified. I realize you're like the highest ranking general we have and all that, but classified.
She's declassifying it by just thinking about it, you guys. Isn't that how this works?
We need to know the protocol on this. I love that we're using a protocol droid for actual protocol and not just
Yes.
transmission.
I enjoy that the fact that HK series droids are assassins is the common knowledge.
Yes. And then we have the protocol droid who doesn't know how to lie.
Yep.
Just, oh yeah, oh no, we've got assassin droids. Yeah.
Oh, it's right over the droid's right over there. And apparently everybody in the control room is in on it because
Yep.
they're all like, no. And then Dude Man just starts.
Now, see, that
opening
one
fire.
guy was for the Empire. The other two were just happy for the extra paycheck to keep quiet.
Yeah, that's why they drew on him after the
Y-
firefight.
yeah.
Well, yeah, they
throwing
didn't want their
hands
money
up.
to get. Again, that's exactly what he said. Most don't care about politics. They just want to know where the money's coming from. And to Nathan's point, right? Where's the best money coming from? Well, if the Empire's paying me extra.
I don't know. Maybe. I feel like if they weren't committed to the cause, they wouldn't have risked their lives. They would have just given
Yeah,
up almost
money's
immediately.
usually not worth dying for.
When you're living in Corellia,
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we do know how much Han risked his life to die for money, basically.
and to leave.
I mean,
So-
he didn't die, but you know, he
But
could
he
have.
risked, yeah. So Scott,
Yeah.
you mentioned the possibility of that being a Gotal, Merrick there. What if Merrick is a Shishtavenan wolf
A
man?
Shistavian Wolfman. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down
Wolfman.
for that. Yeah, Derek was talking about that earlier. That'd be cool.
With 3
liked
dots.
him. I liked him take
Yes.
3 dots. I can have 3 of them. I liked him taking off his cloak and the wind blowing it down into the trench. That was beautiful cinematography.
It would have been cooler if the cloak was weighted and it would have been like he's training in Dragon Ball Z. For those that get that,
For those who are confused about the 3 dots thing and the ability 3 thing, these are references to the Star Wars collectible card game.
If you're
Basically,
listening
3.
to our podcast, they know what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's
so we
true.
probably explained this enough. Here comes my favorite part with Chopper.
I like how Hera is able to essentially save the day with just the Phantom 2. Like, this isn't even the Ghost. You know what I mean?
I love how you can basically understand Chopper.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
Because it's boop 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 boop.
I do love what happens to this HK droid here. Ahsoka is like taking it apart, and Marek is like, you know what? Fine, I'm just going to help you so I can kill you. And then he's all, check me out. I have a double blade lightsaber because I'm a former
I'm an
Inquisitor.
Inquisitor.
And we're all like, yes, we know.
So if he's the only Inquisitor left, though, is he the Grand Inquisitor?
Well, you know,
feel
it's
like-
similar to how Vader made himself a Jedi Master because he was the only remaining member of the Council.
Well, that he knew
And
of.
here
'Cause
we have-
technically Yoda and Obi-Wan were still alive.
That's true.
Here we have some requisite dialogue in the era of
And-
the internet and reaction videos where Hera has to explain to us why she doesn't just shoot it down.
Yeah.
I mean, at least she cares about the people.
Yes, that is good. And Chopper has got like a little toolbox up there with him, which is so great.
I don't
No,
need this.
no,
I don't
no.
need that. I don't need this. Well, I love how
I
he.
love how he like gets his hands on the shoulder there, you know?
Yeah.
Aha!
What? Oh.
Found it.
And much like Sabine at the hospital, Chopper has his own backup battery supply for his smartphone. She even said, did you look underneath your backup battery?
At least we didn't see him flying with it.
Yeah. I thought he
Yeah,
might do that to get into the shuttlecraft.
I did too, but I like this much better, where he just throws it and then boomerangs
and
it
then
with the swords.
Ahsoka knows it's coming, so she just casually leans out of the way. She's like, fine, take it back. She's like, I don't want to fight you when you don't have it, because that'd be cheating. I want to beat you, but I don't want to beat you that way. Their ship vaguely reminds me of a cross between the Lambda-class shuttle from Return of the Jedi and Krennic's ship in Rogue
Yeah.
One.
So this is the new ride that they need to install at Disney World.
Riding the Ghost, or the Phantom 2.
Here comes my favorite part next. Got it.
He's all like, yes! And he flexes. He's all like, I'm the man! I mean, I'm a droid!
Chopper's like, look, I've only killed 500,000 people so far. I need more.
I gotta get my kill count up so I can raise
We went
that.
over that last time. She was at the bottom of the list. There's
All
Alan
right, we're
Tudyk
back over at Sabine's hideout.
I like how we've just made it that this is both Alan Tudyk and
and Circus.
Andy Serkis. Yeah.
But now they switched. So that was Alan Tudyk in the front.
It's like every time we see him, they've switched.
And when you see Sabine's hand go down to pet him, well, they're that big. They just had to make a giant prop hand to come down to film that.
So I like this vaguely Mandalorian-esque, reverential treatment of her armor plating as she lays it all out and she's contemplating putting it back on. Like she doesn't just slap it on like she's changing her t-shirt.
Yep.
She is a Mandalorian. Weapons are part of her religion. So here we go.
And we do have more samurai references here in a second.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is something that, if I recall correctly, I predicted with the hair, because it's reminiscent of Avatar: The Last Airbender in season 2 when Uncle Iroh and Dante Bosco. Sorry, I'm blanking on his name. How can I be blanking on his name? The eye guy.
Vibro knife.
I believe that is her vibro knife from Rebels. She just doesn't have it on.
And also, Nathan, very reminiscent of Mulan here, where she cuts her hair to fulfill a duty. In this case, Sabine's cutting her hair to fulfill a duty to go find Ezra or perhaps to go stop Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Well, not just
one
that,
way or another.
It needs to fit with the helmet. That's all.
That's true too. But
Zuko, that's the name. Iroh and Zuko. But when they do it, it's symbolizing that they are leaving the royal life behind.
Yeah, not monastery, Derek. The palace.
Palace. That's right.
And there's men getting arrested along with all of his co-conspirators because the
Star Wars Law and Order.
That's right. Dong
Brilliant
dong.
edition.
No, sorry, not dong dong, but.
But if we know anything about the Republic and their practices with transporting prisoners, those people will not make it to trial. So far, I believe we've had 3 different prisoner escapes. Mando helped somebody escape.
Yeah, but see, these guys were corporate sabotage, so therefore they're not going to escape. What will happen is they'll be on a plane flying over Russia and it'll accidentally crash. Oh, sorry, wait, no.
They're the Christopher Lloyds.
Yes. I'm ready to be a hologram. I've been paying attention to Hera.
Just admit, Scott, you want to become a hologram.
I do, kind of. I mean, then I could like notarize stuff without having to drive all the way back to Charlotte, which I had to do today.
Just to notarize something?
Yes. Well, okay, not just to notarize something, to notarize 101 pieces of paper. Oh. I mean, it wasn't like it took me 15 minutes. I mean, it was worth the drive, but dang.
Did you get some good food at lunch today?
No, I skipped lunch so I could make it back in time to, get ready for all this tonight. Because rush hour traffic coming back from Charlotte, driving west from Charlotte, I'd still be there probably.
Yes.
So I love this scene. Basically, the exact live action version of the prologue for Rebels. Sorry, epilogue.
Epilogue, yeah. I was going to say post-log, but I knew that wasn't right either.
Yeah.
Except,
as we said earlier, for some reason, Ahsoka doesn't have the staff. I guess they ditched the idea of Ahsoka with a staff.
And she's wearing a gray cloak instead of a white one.
Yeah. We got too much Lord of the Rings, I suppose. We don't want Ahsoka the White just yet.
I was going to say Ahsoka the White. But I liked it because it had like the rings on it where she go ting ting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very much Asian old wise.
But also this is the Beskar staff.
Yeah.
But
this is a little different because Huang is here and he wasn't there in the cartoon.
Was he not there or was he just off screen?
I'm going to say he wasn't there. I think much like Nathan, you were saying earlier, they hadn't decided to make Elspeth into a Dathomir witch. They hadn't decided to have Huang be part of the story at that point. Because that was, 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
I think that was what,
Scott, don't make me older than I already feel.
2018? Because it was before the Rise of Skywalker came out.
Definitely. It may have been before The Last Jedi came out. Oh, she called her Padawan.
But she also put
Sabine still
makeup
looks.
on.
She did. Sabine still looks great with the short purple hair. I like Kevin
Yeah,
though. I kind of
I
miss the
preferred the
long
long
hair.
hair.
the long hair, no
Yeah.
makeup.
And here we have a giant hyperspace ring that totally reminds me
Stargate.
of the ships. Well, the Stargate, yes, but also the things that the Jedi used for their starfighters in the prequel trilogy.
Yep, to make hyperspace jumps.
The hyperdrive ring, yeah.
So, but they're making it this big so they can literally take a Star Destroyer.
You think so? So do you think that they're
Maybe.
going to like put a ship into it, a la the hyperspace ring, and then the whole thing's going to take off?
Yeah.
Or like you were saying earlier, Derek, about a beacony thing, is
Well,
it going to open and be like a big
the beacon
wormhole in
is
the
the
middle?
beacon is a beacon. It's still going to be lighting the whole way for them to follow, but it's not going to open up a portal or anything. It's just going to be a
Okay.
beacon that's going to be, a la lighthouse.
I love the evil version of the holograms different.
Like the sand.
Yeah, the sandiness.
Yeah.
I saw a theory that I really like that she's actually using the force to kind of hold up sand for the projection to bounce off of.
Oh, it is vaguely greeny, like her Dathomir powers. And I like that Balin is kind of doing a Yoda thing here, but for the bad guys, where he's like peering into the force. Always in motion, the future is.
I mean, he was obviously gifted as a child, right? And he was semi-trained. Obviously he was not quite. He was probably a little bit older. He was probably an actual, like, legit Padawan. I don't think he would be a youngling.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
I kind of got the vibe that Balin was a master.
I don't think he was a master. I think he was a young Jedi. He was like an Anakin Skywalker, like a Jedi Knight.
So
But
he was a
quite.
knight of some kind.
Ahsoka didn't seem to know who he was, and I think she would if he were a master.
Correct.
Okay.
So I think knight seems more likely.
Yeah.
And again, love this end credits music.
Yeah.
But he also seems to not be totally evil. He talks
he
about
was
how
not
it would be a
keen.
shame to kill Ahsoka because
They're
they're
so
so
Yeah, he
huge
was not
by
keen
that.
on killing her. Yeah. Yeah, he still thinks of himself as a Jedi of some kind.
Like I said, that's why his blade is orange. It's not red, because he's
Mhm.
Yeah.
still, again, he still honors the Jedi ways, but again, he's a lot like Dooku, a lot like Quinlan Vos, a lot like, to some degree, Mace Windu. Mace Windu was just very full of himself at some point, right? And that's where,
Yeah.
But he was
Oh,
on that where he's not afraid to use
It
the
also-
other side.
Also kind of vaguely reminds me of where Asajj Ventress ended up,
She
especially-
wasn't exactly good, but she wasn't exactly evil either.
He did fall in love.
Yep. And we have the Pergil again. I think as time goes by, we're going, as more episodes are seen, more of these cave paintings, if you will make sense to us. Because I think one of them, obviously one of them was a Loth wolf. And I think one of them was something akin to an Asalamiri. Because I think that the one that looked almost like a little chameleon thing right before we saw the Pergil was not supposed to be a Pergil.
No, it's a different
What-
galaxy.
I saw something right before we saw the Pergil that I think is supposed to be the hyperspace ring that they were just building.
Yeah. I meant though there was a little drawing-y thing.
Yeah.
Derek, can you go back? Is
Sure.
that possible? If you could go back to
No, it won't let me
the-
do it. It'll let me pause it, but it won't let me.
No. Oh well.
Well, that just gives us something to talk about next time. We'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Well,
Be
we hope
honest,
you
you
guys
guys are gonna go watch it again right now.
We're gonna, yeah, exactly.
Maybe not right now.
We hope you guys have enjoyed checking out Ahsoka with our commentary. Now, obviously, we won't be doing a live commentary for every episode, but we will certainly be analyzing and debating what happened on each of the episodes for the rest of this season. Sadly, in my opinion, we only have 6 episodes left because there are only 8 episodes. So
for this season.
yes. So we definitely will have more to talk about. And then I'm sure that after we finish the season, just like always, these 2 episodes will be seen in a different light than they were the first time around.
Definitely. I mean,
Well,
seeing the second
so-
episode already puts the first episode in a new light.
Yep. So we're done with the first 2 episodes. Before we sign off for this recording, highlights. Nathan, what did you like the best?
I love getting to see characters that we've really only seen in cartoon in live action. So seeing Sabine,
Yeah.
seeing Hera. We've seen Ahsoka before, but not that much in terms of live action. Getting to see her in action, fighting somebody who isn't Din Djarin,
Right?
that was really cool. For lowlights, I think the one big criticism I have is Sabine getting stabbed. This is not the first time that we've had somebody get stabbed in an area where you'd think it would kill them, and it doesn't. I think it would have been better if she had gotten stabbed somewhere more reasonably less lethal.
Or, classic chop off the hand, robot hand. Come on.
Chop off
people.
the hand, stab in the leg, something like that. But honestly, that's my biggest criticism of this.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see where this series goes.
Totally. Derek, highlights, lowlights.
I mean, I just love seeing my Rebels characters in live action doing so well right now. I'm hoping at this point we'll get Zeb and Steve Bloom will continue to do the voice and we'll get that cameo. I think that would be really cool if essentially Hera gets the band back together.
Mhm.
And obviously, we won't have Kanan, but we'll have Jackson, right? Was it Jason? What's the kid's name?
Jason.
Jackson is a whole different rabbit.
Yes.
Dude, if we have Jackson in live action on this show, I'm gonna lose my friggin' mind.
So, but anyways, it'd be cool, like I said, to basically get the band back together to go save Ezra, right? Or however they need to figure out to basically save Ezra, right? And I mean, but that could be in theory. I don't think it's going to take. I mean, I think by episode 4 we'll finally get the big reveal of Thrawn. But I don't think we'll get Ezra till the end. Or if we do get him early on, it'll be a reveal of Ezra not being Ezra at the end, right? That'll be the cliffhanger of some sort. Like I said, it'll either be Ezra revealed at the end, or like I said, so a la, Force Awakens and the Last Jedi type deal, and like I said, so. But yeah, just excited. Like I said, they've done a great job of casting, these cartoon characters essentially into live action so far. And as I mentioned, I mean I feel like this. I mean, we've only seen 2 episodes, but I feel like the CGI is a lot cleaner. Definitely visuals. They're keeping it grummy, type deal where it's still again beat up Worf things. We got some great cameos, characters. Again, Clancy Brown coming in, with his recast. So hopefully any other characters that are reprising voice actors for the show, we'll get some more of them as well.
Yeah, for me, lowlights, I feel like they needed just a few more minutes of exposition to help out viewers that had never bothered to watch a Star Wars cartoon, to talk about who Ezra was, who Thrawn was, why they were important, what happened with the Purrgil. Because if you don't know that Purrgil are important to the disappearance, then all the little Purrgil iconography is just going right over your head. But it wasn't that bad. Definitely a Star Wars show for Star Wars fans. So not a whole lot of primer, if you will, to jump in. If you don't know, if you hadn't watched Rebels or Clone Wars to a certain degree, much more so Rebels, none of this, that opening stuff didn't mean a whole lot to you because you're like, who is this multicolored hair girl, and so on. But highlights, Sabine's hair. No, but
Oh.
seriously, Sabine in general was the highlight for me. I loved
Natasha, yeah.
where her character is, and Natasha did such an amazing job of acting and portraying that character. And not big on her lightsaber duel. Like I said, it felt a bit like the clunkiness of Kylo Ren versus Rey. But then they talked about why it felt clunky because Yu Wang was all.
We actually
the
got
problem-
the reason why. So
Yes, the problem is you suck. So yeah.
Which
So
was the
good on them
problem
for
with
that.
Kylo Ren and Rey too. Rey
Oh yeah,
wasn't
wasn't it when
trained.
Samuel L. Jackson said those kids need to go to lightsaber school, and he was right.
Yeah, Kylo wasn't trying to kill Rey, and Rey wasn't very good. So,
Yes. Anywho, but yeah, so we hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, please look for us out there on ye old social media, and you can of course find all of our shows on the Spotify and the well, actually, we're not on Spotify,
Podbean.
are we? Podbean and Google Play
Apple.
and iHeartRadio and so on and so forth. So yeah, and if you guys
And
want
the
some
YouTubes.
cool yes, and the YouTubes. And if you want some cool What a Piece of Junk merch, please head over to tpublic.com and check out our merch. But my earbuds are telling me that I'm running out of battery power once again, so we're gonna have to end it there, lest I not be able to hear what you guys are saying, and that would make for a really weird podcast. So as always, please always remember to respect each other and always respect each other's fandom. All right, Nathan, punch it.